Hi everybody and welcome back to Brody's Chess on YouTube. Today we are going to do a learning video about the London system, which is an opening which is played at even really high levels, like grandmasters sometimes play it, but like there's more lines, so it's harder to play it at the higher level, but it's played from it's like a really powerful opening in the beginner to intermediate level. So if you're in that range, watch very carefully and you will get really good and skyrocket your ELO. So it starts with d4, and we're going to start with the most common response and line, which is d5. Then you move your bishop out, and then they usually move their knight attacking the pawn. And then you try to close your bishop, and then move your bishop out and your knight and make a pyramid and castle. But let's say if that doesn't happen.
So if it doesn't go as planned.
If they do. So one of the hardest responses to play against is if you play d4 and they move their pawn, their king's pawn, trying to do a gambit. It's not the most common gambit, but it still could happen.
And just remind viewers what a gambit is.
So a gambit is if you take it, let's say I took it, later they would gain an advantage and the center.
Okay.
Maybe.
So you want to avoid that.
Yeah. And maybe get like a weak king.
Okay.
I might. So you don't take. You push and then you can try to move your pawn up. And if they take, they just have a really weak position because you can develop your bishop for free. And then they will need to play very defensively. So let's say you move that and you push and they want you to take your pawn again. You could just take it and just let them develop their knight taking the pawn, and then you could move your bishop out all the way. You could move your bishop out later.
Okay.
And that's a little bit of a harder line, which I don't know as much of. So let's say they do that, and I'm going to try to do the middle game. So I'm just trying to do common moves.
Okay.
For the middle game.
Just to set it up so.
Yeah.
So he's setting up the board to show what it might look like at the middle game stage.
So here's what it might look like at the middle game stage. So a common move which might happen in the middle game or even in the opening stage is they moving their bishop out, trying to trade your powerful bishop later in the game. And you try to go back usually in the opening and offer a trade. It's still good after you castle, but it's good if you haven't castled. Because let's go back to see if that happened when I hadn't castled. if they took the bishop, I would take with this pawn, moving my pawn towards the center and opening my rook. So they would not like that trade, and they might be scared for a while. But you could still do that in future ideas when you castle. So the most common move at the beginner and intermediate level is to take. Then you can still take with that pawn, but you could also take with the knight or this pawn opening the rook. I think a better move is to take with this pawn opening the rook to have a semi-open file, which is half an open file because there's one pawn on it.
Okay.
So an open file is when there's no pawns on it.
Okay.
So let's say they don't take and try to move their rook to the center. You can try to move this pawn, trying to attack in the center and open the center so you can get your queen out and rook out.
Mm-hmm.
And their queen is basically stuck behind all their pieces, so it's hard for it to develop. So you could move there, and after they take, you have a semi-open file again, and your knight has one more square to move to. And it would still be a semi-open file.
Okay.
And after that, you will probably be able to play a really good middle game and probably do good stuff in the end game.
So is this something you play regularly?
Yeah.
And do you prefer playing white with this opening?
White is the London system.
White only is the London system?
Yeah, black can't do it.
Why can't black do it?
It's just not a good opening for black, and you won't want to do it.
Okay, so keep that in mind.
Don't try to play it if you're black.
Okay.